Michelle spent a decade sacrificing for a future she was promised only to watch her parents hand it all to her sister. But this isn't just about stolen savings. It's about stolen respect. When the responsible daughter finally says no, a quiet war erupts behind the walls of family loyalty. The golden hue of the autumn sunset bathes the suburban driveway as Michelle pulls in, the quiet hum of her sedan cutting through the stillness. Sunday dinner, long a family tradition, carries the same sense of obligation it always has. She smooths the creases in her charcoal pencil skirt and adjusts her cream blouse, her movements practiced and polite. Through the bay window, she catches flickers of movement, laughter, celebration. Odd, there wasn't supposed to be an occasion today. She knocks twice before unlocking the front door, a habit her mother ingrained in her since childhood. Always announce yourself, Michelle. It's the polite thing to do. The comforting scent of rosemary potatoes and roasted chicken wraps around her like a familiar sweater. She inhales deeply, grounding herself. The hallway walls are lined with decades of family photos. Graduation day, vacation snapshots, carefully curated smiles. Rachel, the golden child, always front and center. Michelle, always there too, smiling small, like she didn't quite belong. Michelle? That you? Her mother calls from the dining room. It's me, she answers, hanging her coat on the wooden rack by the door. But when she steps into the dining room, the world shifts. Her sister Rachel, in a sleek burgundy cocktail dress that screams designer, stands near the china cabinet, glowing like she's the star of her own award show. Dad is pouring champagne into the family's good crystal flutes, the ones usually reserved for Christmas or milestone birthdays. Mom greets Michelle with an overly bright smile, pulling her into a perfumed hug. You're just in time, her mother beams. We were about to toast. Michelle accepts the champagne, puzzled but polite. Rachel's practically vibrating with excitement. To Rachel's future, Dad announces proudly, raising his glass. Clink, sip, smile. Then comes the bombshell. I found my dream house in Oakwood Heights, Rachel announces. We put in an offer yesterday and it was accepted. Michelle's stomach tightens. Oakwood Heights. That luxury development with the rooftop gardens and community pool. Starting price? Nearly $500,000. We're helping with the down payment, Mom chimes in. From the family trust fund, Michelle freezes, the stem of her champagne flute suddenly ice in her fingers. The family trust fund? She echoes. The one I've contributed to for 10 years? The one that was supposed to be for my future? Her parents exchange a glance, a silent pact, well practiced. It's for family milestones, Michelle, Dad says, a defensive edge in his voice. That's always been the plan. Rachel, oblivious to the tension, swipes through photos on her phone. Granite countertops. Walk-in closets. Double vanities. Michelle nods mechanically, her mind screaming beneath the calm facade. Her parents smile. Rachel gloats, and somewhere deep inside something breaks. They didn't even ask. They never do. And for the first time in her life, Michelle realizes this dinner isn't a celebration of family. It's a reminder of where she stands in it. Michelle's face remains composed as Rachel gushes about cathedral ceilings and rooftop terraces. But inside, her thoughts are spinning. Oakwood Heights, Isen, just an expensive housing development. It as a symbol of everything she denied herself for a decade. And now it's being handed, gift-wrapped, to her sister, with her money. She retreats to the bathroom under the excuse of needing a moment. Behind the locked door, her hands tremble as she pulls out her phone. The banking app loads slower than usual, though maybe it's just her pulse thundering in her ears. Account balance, $0. Last transaction, transfer to external account. Yesterday she blinks as if her eyes are playing tricks on her. But the numbers remain. Nearly $60,000 vanished in a single click. Her stomach drops. 10 years ago, she was fresh out of college, sitting at this very dining table with her parents. Her dad had spread out forms, smiling in that fatherly way that always masked an agenda. It's time to start thinking long-term, he had said. A security fund for your wedding someday. Your first home, her mother had nodded, encouraging. Add what you can. We'll contribute too. It'll grow, and when the time comes, you'll have a solid foundation. Michelle had believed them. So every month without fail, she had transferred $500 into the joint fund, skipping vacations, buying secondhand furniture. Living in a one-bedroom apartment with a perpetually leaky kitchen faucet, all for the future they promised. A future she now realizes was never meant for her. Back at the table, Rachel continues her slideshow of luxury, her face flushed with wine and excitement. Michelle returns silently, sits down, and sips her champagne to suppress the rage rising in her throat. Dad claps Rachel on the back. "We couldn't be prouder," Mom smiles, eyes shining. "You'll finally have a home of your own, and I won't have to hear about your creaky apartment anymore." Rachel laughs. "Seriously, Michelle, you should see this closet." Michelle's fingers tighten around her glass. "The family trust fund," she repeats. "You mean the account I've been contributing to for the last 10 years? The table goes quiet for half a second. Then Dad speaks, his voice firm. "It's a family account, Michelle, meant for milestones." "And my milestone?" she asks, tone cool. "When do I get one?" "You don't even have a serious boyfriend," Mom offers, tone light but dismissive. "Rachel's at that stage now." Rachel shrugs. "You were just saving money, Michelle. It's not like you were using it." Michelle stares at her sister glowing in designer threads, drunk on privilege, and Prosecco, and sees clearly for the first time. Rachel, who took a gap year to find herself in Europe. Rachel, who got a car for graduation while Michelle took the bus for 2 years. Rachel, who never sacrificed a thing and was never expected to. And Michelle? She was the dependable one. The responsible daughter. The one who made things easier. Who never asked for much. Her entire life, that role protected the family. It never protected her. She sets her champagne flute down, barely touched. "Excuse me." This time, her steps to the bathroom are not hesitant. They're the beginning of a quiet fury taking shape. Michelle stares at her reflection, at the woman she's become through years of sacrifice. Quiet, composed, reliable. But also unseen, undervalued, used. This isn't about money anymore. It's about worth. She straightens her spine. They've made their choice. Now it's time for her to make hers. Michelle emerges from the bathroom with her mask back on, calm, pleasant, controlled. But inside, something tectonic has shifted. She's no longer processing. She's deciding not how to fix this. Not how to keep the peace. But how to finally stop pretending. She returns to the dining room just as her family clinks glasses again. Rachel's phone is out, capturing another selfie with her champagne flute, the sparkle of entitlement shining brighter than her cocktail ring. Michelle watches from the doorway, unnoticed for a full 10 seconds. Then she speaks. "That was my money." Silence crashes into the room. Her mother's laugh is light, strained. "Sweetheart, it's a family fund." Michelle steps forward. "So explain to me why a decade of my deposits became a gift to Rachel without even a conversation." Rachel sighs loudly. "Ooh, Michelle. Don't be so dramatic. It's not like you were using it." Dad places his glass on the table with deliberate calm. "Let's all just settle down." "This isn't the time." "No," Michelle interrupts, her voice clear. "This is exactly the time." She looks directly at her father. "I want to see the account statements. All of them. From the beginning." A flicker of panic flashes across his face before he masks it with irritation. "We don't need to drag this out." "Then show me the proof," Michelle says, stepping closer. 10 years of contributions. 10 years of me scraping by while you promised this was for my future. Dad grits his teeth. Mom fidgets with her napkin. Rachel is already back on her phone, muttering something about Michelle ruining her vibe. Finally, Dad huffs and leaves the room. In the awkward silence that follows, Mom tries a softer tactic. "Michelle, I know you're upset, but Rachel's getting married. She's starting her life, and I was never allowed to start mine." Michelle asks, turning to her mother. "What about all the times I needed help and got nothing but lectures?" "You've always been so capable," Mom says. "We didn't think you needed anything. That's the problem," Michelle replies. "You thought that because I didn't ask, I didn't deserve." Dad returns with a leather portfolio, dropping it on the table. Michelle flips it open, her fingers already scanning the statements. Deposit after deposit, $500 Michelle Robinson, every single month for 10 years. No entries from her parents, no family contributions, no shared responsibility. And then the withdrawals. A $20,000 transfer 3 years ago. Another $12,000, smaller amounts. All labeled vaguely: education support, living expenses, overseas opportunity. Michelle lifts her eyes. Rachel's grad school, her car, her trip to Europe. Her sister shrugs. You're acting like I stole it. You did. No, Rachel says coldly. Mom and Dad gave it to me. Michelle's voice is quieter now but sharper. They gave away what was never theirs to give. Mom reaches for her hand. Michelle pulls away. Family supports each other, her mother insists. And where was the support when I was skipping meals to make that deposit every month? Dad bristles. We put a roof over your head. Food on your plate. The bare minimum, Michelle says, standing. You did the minimum and expected a lifetime of gratitude, Rachel scoffs. It's just money. You'll save more. Michelle looks at her sister, who has never known sacrifice, who has always had everything handed to her. It's not just money, she replies. It's the principle. It's respect. And you don't get to decide what I'm owed. She picks up the portfolio, tucks it under her arm, and grabs her coat. You're overreacting, Dad says sternly. We expect you to be reasonable. Michelle stops at the doorway. Yes, she says. The decision has been made. But not by you. Then she leaves, the click of the door behind her a closing chapter she won't reopen. Michelle drives home in silence, the city lights a blur against the windshield. The portfolio of statements rests on the passenger seat, cold, heavy, undeniable. A decade of her life, her sacrifices, her choices, turned into a gift Rachel now brags about online. Her apartment feels colder than usual when she walks in. She doesn't turn on the lights, just drops her purse, kicks off her shoes, and sinks onto the couch. The hum of the refrigerator is the only sound. Then the buzzing begins. Her phone lights up texts, calls, voicemails. Mom, Michelle, please call. We can work this out as a family. Dad, your silence is disappointing. Don't do something you'll regret. Think about the family's reputation. Rachel, are you seriously going to ruin my engagement week over some savings account? Grow up. Michelle lets the phone vibrate itself to stillness. She finally opens Instagram, curious about how Rachel is spinning the story. There it is, a photo in front of the Oakwood Heights sales office. Rachel and her fiancé grinning, keys in hand. The caption reads, "Dreams come true when you have a generous family. #blessed, #new home, #family first." The gall. Michelle scrolls through the comments. So proud of you, girl. Hard work pays off. You deserve it all. She hovers over the comment box. Her fingers type and retip. Congrats on spending my $60,000. Hope the house creaks less than my apartment. Delete. Hard work? She lived rent-free while I worked 60 hours a week. Delete. She types a single, measured response instead. Wishing you all the joy that came at my expense. She hits post before she can stop herself. The phone buzzes again. Mom, Michelle, your behavior is immature. Your father is furious. Dad, this tantrum ends now. Consider what you're doing to the family. Rachel, are you jealous or just bitter? I earned this. The words are sharp, cutting, but they no longer land. Not the way they used to. Michelle walks to her small kitchen and pours a glass of water, her reflection in the darkened window looking more like herself than ever before. Not the compliant daughter. Not the emotional punching bag. Not the strong one who's expected to bear the weight of everyone else's dreams. They've all created a story where she's selfish, overreacting, ungrateful. But she knows the truth. And for the first time, she doesn't feel the need to justify it to anyone. This isn't about money anymore. It's about taking her power back. The next evening, just as Michelle finishes grading spelling tests and organizing tomorrow's lesson plan, there's a knock at the door. She opens it to find Sarah, her best friend since college, standing there with a bottle of Merlot in one hand and a manila folder in the other. You sounded awful on the phone, Sarah says, breezing past her into the apartment. So I brought wine. And ammunition. Michelle raises an eyebrow at the folder. That doesn't look like Cabernet. Nope, Sarah says, already opening the kitchen drawer for the corkscrew. This is information. Legal information. They sit on the couch, wine in hand, the portfolio of betrayal still spread across the coffee table. I still can't believe they did this, Michelle murmurs, more to herself than to Sarah. 10 years. I gave up so much, and they just took it, Sarah says flatly, without your consent. That's not just wrong, Michelle. That might be illegal. Michelle blinks. It was a joint account. Their names were on it too. Sarah shakes her head, flipping open the folder. Joint account doesn't mean free for all. Especially not when there's clear documentation that you were the sole contributor. Inside are printed documents. Articles about fiduciary duty, financial misappropriation, and the legal nuances of joint accounts. Michelle stares down at the pages, the legal jargon heavy and intimidating. Sarah sees her hesitation. You don't have to go full courtroom drama right away, but you should talk to someone. Someone who knows this kind of law. I can't sue my parents, Michelle says, voice small. You're not suing them, Sarah counters. You're holding them accountable. There's a difference. The words settle in Michelle's chest, foreign but powerful. She takes another sip of wine. You think I have a case? Sarah nods without hesitation. I do, and I already talked to someone, Thomas Wilson. He's the senior partner at my firm. Been handling family financial disputes for decades. If anyone can help you, it's him. Michelle's eyes flicker back to the bank statements. $59,872.43 gone. Years of skip takeout, secondhand furniture, and working overtime just to keep up the contributions. Sacrifices made in blind faith, and now, a house she never live in. A wedding she never be invited to plan. A family more interested in control than care. She looks back at Sarah, who's now lounging on the couch like it's her own, sipping wine and giving her the kind of loyalty that's been missing from everyone who shares Michelle's blood. Okay, Michelle says, more to herself than anyone. I'll call him. Sarah lifts her glass. To the beginning of the end for them? Michelle clinks her glass against Sarah's, a new thought blooming in her mind. This doesn't end with silence. It ends with action. Michelle sits stiffly in the leather chair across from Thomas Wilson, the senior attorney Sarah recommended. His office is all dark wood and heavy bookshelves, the kind of room where serious people make serious decisions. Framed degrees hang behind his desk, but it's the quiet authority in his voice that commands the space. He adjusts his silver-rimmed glasses and scans the portfolio she's handed him, bank statements, transaction records, and the original joint account agreement signed a decade ago. You've been the sole contributor for 10 years?
He asks, glancing up. Michelle nods. Every month.
$500. He turns the pages slowly, methodically. And they withdrew it without informing you. They said it was for a family milestone, Michelle replies, the words bitter in her mouth. Rachel's new house. Thomas removes his glasses and leans back in his chair. This isn't a trust. It's a joint account, yes, but the paper trail is clear. You funded it. They didn't. This wasn't jointly maintained. It was solely funded by you. Michelle swallows hard. Hearing it out loud changes something. It's no longer just emotional betrayal. It's legal. What does that mean? Thomas folds his hands. It means you have grounds for action. What they did constitutes financial misappropriation. Possibly even fraud, depending on how the funds were transferred and used. Michelle's hands tighten in her lap. I don't want to destroy my family, Thomas nods. And yet they had no problem destroying your future. The silence that follows is thick. Michelle thinks of her mother's voice on the voicemail, syrupy with concern, laced with veiled threats. Of her father warning her about the family's reputation. Of Rachel's smug Instagram post basking in a life Michelle paid for. Thomas speaks again, gently this time. We can start with letters. Certified, formal. One to the bank, disputing the transaction. Another to your parents, outlining the claim. It opens the door for negotiation. Michelle exhales slowly. And if they refuse? Then we go to court. But often people take letters more seriously than phone calls. Especially when they realize this could escalate publicly. He slides 2 prepped letters across the desk. You'd need to sign these. We'll send them today. Michelle looks down at the papers. Her name is printed cleanly beneath the signature line. A decade of sacrifice has led to this moment, 2 signatures that say, I won't be ignored anymore. She picks up the pen, signs. Thomas gathers the documents, slipping them into envelopes with practiced precision. Fair warning, Miss Robinson, he says, as his assistant enters to collect them. People rarely respond well when called to account. Michelle meets his eyes. Good, neither do I. As she leaves the office, portfolio in hand, something inside her shifts. She's not just the daughter anymore. Not just the dependable one, not the overlooked or the taken for granted. She's a woman reclaiming what was stolen, and this is just the beginning. The classroom is quiet after the final bell. Tiny desks are empty, crayon drawings still taped to the walls. Michelle lingers in the quiet hum of fluorescent lights, her thoughts louder than the silence around her. She straightens Lily's butterfly art and Xavier's wobbly solar system. These children, so bright, so full of hope, have no idea what it means to be overlooked. To be the one who's always expected to manage, to endure. Her phone buzzes in her pocket. Unknown number. It's Aunt Meredith. The voice stops her cold. Her father's older sister, the family black sheep. The one who moved to Arizona and was rarely spoken of except in passing disapproval.
Hi, Michelle says cautiously. How did you... Michelle?
Sarah called me. Said you're going through something that felt familiar. Michelle leans against the chalkboard ledge, stunned. I heard what Robert and Patricia did, Meredith continues, her voice soft but edged with heat. And I want to tell you something that nobody else will. This isn't new. They've done it before. What do you mean? Your grandmother left me her jewelry. Her exact words were, for Meredith. The only one who never asked for anything. But your father convinced me that the pieces needed to stay in the family line. With him, with your mother. With you girls, Michelle swallows. I never knew. You weren't meant to, Meredith replies. That's how they operate. Convince you that your silence is noble, that sacrifice is love. And that questioning them is betrayal. Michelle closes her eyes. It hits her like a wave, how easily she fell into the same trap, the same silence. The same shame for simply wanting fairness. I let it go, Meredith says. And I regretted it for years, but you? You don't have to. Michelle looks around her classroom, at the hopeful faces smiling from art projects, at the words be kind, be brave, painted above the whiteboard. I'm tired of being the one who always understands, she whispers. This stops with you, sweetheart, Meredith says, her voice firm. It has to. Or you'll pass it on, just like your father did. Michelle nods, even though Meredith can't see her. A lifetime of being the good daughter, the responsible one, has brought her here to a broken promise and an empty bank account. And now she understands. This wasn't an accident. It was a legacy. I'm going to fight, she says quietly. Good girl, Meredith answers. And if they come after you, you won't be alone this time. As the sun sets outside the classroom window, Michelle hangs up the phone with a renewed sense of purpose. She's no longer carrying just her own story. She's carrying generations of quiet daughters who were told to smile and stay silent. Not anymore. It starts with a ping. Michelle, curled up on her couch with a cup of tea and a stack of ungraded papers beside her, picks up her phone to see a familiar notification. Rachel has tagged her in a post. She taps it, already bracing herself. The photo is infuriatingly perfect. Rachel and her fiancé in front of a sold sign, their faces lit up with the glow of entitlement. Her left hand rests on his chest, diamond ring front and center. The caption reads, "She said yes. And yes to our dream home. Couldn't have done it without the love and support of my amazing family." Hashtag engaged, hashtag new home, hashtag family, first hashtag so blessed. Michelle stares at the screen for a long moment, then at the coffee table covered in financial statements. Her sacrifice, neatly filtered and hashtagged into a celebration she wasn't invited to. The comments roll in. Oh my god, congrats! You guys are goals! So happy for you both. That house is gorgeous. Michelle scrolls past them all. She's done being quiet. She types. Slowly, carefully. Congratulations on your engagement. I hope your new home brings you as much joy as my 10 years of savings brought you. She taps post before she can second-guess it. It takes only minutes for the reactions to begin. Notifications start pinging. Texts from mutual acquaintances. A voicemail from her mother, high-pitched and panicked. Then a call from her father. What have you done? He growls through the speaker. I told the truth, Michelle replies calmly. You're making us look like criminals. I haven't said anything you didn't do. His silence is thunderous. We gave you everything, he finally spits. You gave Rachel everything. I just paid for it. She hangs up without another word. An hour later, she checks her email. A new message from the bank. Subject: Notice of account hold. Joint account review pending investigation. Her breath catches. She reads the message twice. The bank has frozen the account pending investigation into the disputed withdrawals. It's a small victory. But it's real. They're feeling the consequences now. Michelle sits back, her heart pounding not with fear but with power. For years, her silence made their actions possible. But now, every time she speaks, the story shifts, the mask cracks. She's not ruining the family, she's rewriting the truth. And for the first time in her life, the record reflects it. The conference room is quiet, the air thick with tension and unspoken history. Michelle sits at one end of the polished walnut table, Thomas Wilson beside her, calm and composed, his leather briefcase resting at his feet like a silent guardian. Across from them sit her parents and Rachel. Her father's jaw is clenched, his eyes refusing to meet hers. Her mother dabs at invisible tears with a tissue, her pearl bracelet clicking with every nervous movement. Rachel scrolls on her phone, thumbs moving furiously, oblivious or pretending to be. Thomas clears his throat. Let's begin. He opens the portfolio slowly, deliberately. This account, under Michelle Robinson's name, with co-signing rights granted to Robert and Ellen Robinson, has a 10-year paper trail of consistent deposits, all made by Michelle. 0 deposits from the co-signers. He slides printed statements across the table. Rachel glances at them, her face paling as she realizes what's on paper can't be spun with hashtags. Wait, this is all you? She asks, finally looking up. You really put all that in? Michelle doesn't flinch. Every month. While you were backpacking through Europe, driving a brand new car, and finding yourself. Her father scoffs. We managed the account. That was part of the deal. No, Thomas says evenly. Managing the account is not the same as owning its contents. And transferring funds without Michelle's consent is a violation of financial ethics, and potentially the law. Mom's voice wavers. We thought we were doing what was best for the family. Rachel is building her life. She needed it. So did I, Michelle says quietly but firmly. I was just never allowed to ask. Rachel slams her phone on the table. I told everyone about the house. I already posted pictures. What am I supposed to do now? That's not my problem, Michelle replies. Dad leans forward, his voice hardening. We raised you better than this. You don't air family business like this. You mean the business where you emptied my savings account behind my back? She says. That business? A long silence stretches out. Michelle waits. Lets them sit in it. Then Thomas speaks again. We are prepared to file a civil suit. However, we're offering a settlement today. Full repayment of the $59,872. Plus 5% interest compounded annually. He slides a paper across the table. That totals $62,865.17. Dad's face flushes. You'd sue your own parents? I'm holding people accountable, Michelle replies. Just like you taught me. Her mother sniffles. We only did what we thought was right. No, Michelle says, shaking her head. You did what was easy. And you assumed I'd stay quiet. Rachel leans back in her chair, crossing her arms. This is so typical. You always have to be the martyr? No, Michelle says, her voice calm and resolute. This time, I'm just being the adult. Her father picks up the pen, hand trembling slightly. Signs. Her mother signs next, elegant and precise. Her eyes never meeting Michelle's. Rachel doesn't sign anything. She just stands abruptly. You've ruined everything, she hisses. Michelle doesn't move. No, I just finally stopped letting you take everything. Rachel storms out. The door slams. Mom follows after a few seconds, throwing Michelle a final disappointed glance. Dad lingers. I hope you're satisfied. Michelle looks him in the eye. I'm not satisfied. I'm just finally not invisible. He leaves without another word. Thomas closes the file. The check will be ready by tomorrow. Michelle nods. The numbness is gone. In its place is something solid, something earned. For the first time, she's not the obedient daughter, The reliable fallback, the financial safety net. She's the one who stood her ground. And she won. The next day, Michelle holds the cashier's check in her hand, $62,865.17. 10 years of sacrifice, 10 years of silence. Now, boiled down into a number that doesn't even begin to account for what was taken from her. But it's not about the money anymore. She drives across town to Westside Elementary, where she's taught third grade for 6 years. In the administrative office, she hands a personal check for $5,000 to Principal Alvarez. For the school's scholarship fund, she says. For the kids who deserve a shot but might not get one otherwise. The principal is stunned. Michelle, are you sure? Completely. It is the first decision she has made in a long time that's just for her, without permission, without apology. Later that afternoon, Michelle meets with a local realtor named Janet, who shows her a modest cottage on Maple Street. The house is nothing like Rachel's luxury townhouse. No rooftop terrace, no vaulted ceilings. But the moment Michelle walks in, it feels right. The hardwood floors are scuffed but real. The kitchen is outdated, but sunlight pours in through east-facing windows. The backyard is overgrown, but in the center stands a towering oak tree that casts dappled light across the grass. It's quiet, Janet says, almost apologetically. Some people prefer more activity. I don't, Michelle replies with a smile. She walks slowly through each room, 2 bedrooms, a small fireplace, just enough space for a dining table where real conversations can happen. Not performative dinners, not obligations. Possibilities bloom in her mind like fresh paint on bare walls, shelves filled with books, a kitchen that smells of lemon, and rosemary, a life that reflects who she really is, not who she was told to be. She makes an offer that evening. 2 weeks later, it's hers. The cottage isn't perfect. It needs work, but it's entirely hers. Paid for with hard-earned, hard-fought money. It's not just a house. It's a reclamation. In the following months, Michelle fills it with things that matter. Plants she never had room for in her old apartment. Second-hand furniture with character. Photos of her students, Sarah, Aunt Meredith. None of her parents, not yet. And maybe not ever. She plants coneflowers and tulips along the stone walkway, digs up weeds with bare hands, and learns the satisfaction of building something that no one else can take from her. No one tells her she's being too serious. No one questions her choices. No one rolls their eyes when she talks. For the first time, Michelle isn't playing a role. She's writing her own story. And she's just getting started. The dining table is small, just enough to seat 6, but tonight it feels full in the best way. Michelle pours wine into mismatched glasses as laughter floats through her cozy cottage. Sarah is mid-story about a disastrous office coffee machine incident. And Meredith chuckles as she serves roasted vegetables, while Thomas Wilson, now a family friend more than just her attorney, surprises everyone with a dry, lawyerly wit that earns a round of applause. Her neighbor Jack raises a glass, voice clear and heartfelt, to chosen families, and to finally standing up for ourselves. Glasses clink. Smiles are genuine. The warmth in the room is real. Michelle takes it all in, the flickering candles, the scent of rosemary in the air, the hum of belonging that isn't tied to guilt or obligation. There's no tension here, no walking on eggshells, no judgment hiding behind polite smiles. Just people who showed up, who supported her, who respected her. After dinner, she retreats to the front porch, journal in hand. The swing creaks softly beneath her as fireflies begin their slow, glowing dance across the garden. She writes, "This isn't just a new chapter, it's a whole new book. I used to think family meant obligation. Quiet sacrifices. Swallowing pain to keep the peace. But now I know, family is who shows up when you need them. Who sees you not just for your usefulness, but for your soul. I didn't lose a family. I found one." She closes the journal, sets it on the table beside her, and leans back, letting the night wrap around her. For the first time in her life, Michelle isn't bracing for disappointment. She's building a life where she is no one's afterthought. She's home. Spring sunlight warms Michelle's shoulders as she kneels in her garden, hands deep in the soil. Her fingers brush against roots and rocks, but the sensation is grounding. In this quiet corner of the world, she's growing something that belongs only to her. Aunt Meredith is inside, checking on her famous strawberry tarts, and the house hums with life. The kind of life Michelle built for herself. Then she hears it, a soft creak of the garden gate. She looks up and freezes. Her mother stands at the entrance, clutching her purse with both hands like it's a shield. Her hair is perfectly styled, but her posture is unsure, hesitant. For once, she looks small. "Michelle," she says, using her childhood name. "Your flowers are beautiful." Michelle stands slowly, brushing dirt from her jeans. "Thanks." Silence stretches between them. "I didn't bring anything," her mother says, almost apologetically. "I should have brought something." "It's okay," Michelle replies, her voice even. Her mother takes a cautious step forward, stopping just inside the gate. "I've been thinking a lot about what happened, about what we did." Michelle doesn't interrupt. She waits. "I didn't see it then," her mother says, voice cracking. "What we were doing to you." "I told myself we were being practical. But we weren't, we were taking. It's not a full apology, but it's something." A sliver of honesty after years of denial. Michelle exhales slowly. "I'm glad you see it now." Her mother nods. "Your father still doesn't. He thinks you've abandoned us." "I didn't abandon anyone," Michelle says, looking her mother in the eye. "I just stopped abandoning myself." The wind rustles through the oak leaves above them. A robin lands briefly on the bird bath, then darts away again. "Would you like some tea?" Michelle offers. Her mother hesitates, then nods. "I'd like that." It's not a reconciliation, but it's a crack in the wall, and for now that's enough. The dining table is small, just enough to seat 6, but tonight it feels full in the best way. Michelle pours wine into mismatched glasses as laughter floats through her cozy cottage. Sarah is mid-story about a disastrous office coffee machine incident. Aunt Meredith chuckles as she serves roasted vegetables, while Thomas Wilson, now a family friend more than just her attorney, surprises everyone with a dry, lawyerly wit that earns a round of applause. Her neighbor Jack raises a glass, voice clear and heartfelt. "To chosen families. And to finally standing up for ourselves." Glasses clink. Smiles are genuine. The warmth in the room is real. Michelle takes it all in: the flickering candles, the scent of rosemary in the air, the hum of belonging that isn't tied to guilt or obligation. There's no tension here, no walking on eggshells, no judgment hiding behind polite smiles. Just people who showed up, who supported her, who respected her. After dinner, she retreats to the front porch, journal in hand. The swing creaks softly beneath her as fireflies begin their slow, glowing dance across the garden. She writes, "This isn't just a new chapter, it's a whole new book. I used to think family meant obligation, quiet sacrifices, swallowing pain to keep the peace. But now I know, family is who shows up when you need them, who sees you not just for your usefulness, but for your soul. I didn't lose a family. I found one." She closes the journal, sets it on the table beside her, and leans back, letting the night wrap around her. For the first time in her life, Michelle isn't bracing for disappointment. She's building a life where she is no one's afterthought. She's home. Michelle's story isn't just about money, it's about value, voice, and finally choosing herself. For years, she was the rock, the responsible one, the daughter who never asked for anything, but silence has a cost. And when she finally spoke, she didn't just reclaim her savings, she reclaimed her life. Because real revenge? It isn't loud, it isn't cruel. It's building something better from the ashes they thought would bury you. If this story hit home, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Because sometimes the best payback is peace.